All right, welcome back to the weekly quintet from the simple side. You're reading the only newsletter in the world, or listening to the only podcast in the world that gives retail investors access to politician, insider, and company executive trading all in one place. Plus, we are the only newsletter that does profit sharing with its readers through raffles and giveaways. We're currently raffling off a total of $1,000, being split between 3 winners, and the draw will be done on August 17th. We also have doubled the prize money for paying subscribers that win the raffle. So if a paying subscriber gets picked as the winner of the giveaway, they'll be getting double the amount of money that they would typically get. But we've got something big for you guys this week. We have Nancy Pelosi making trades totaling over $2 million moved, a sell of Microsoft and a buy of NVDA. Incredible, I know, but we're going to cover it all right here immediately. But let me tell you something before we get into that. In case you didn't know, you can get access to more information than just what I report on in this podcast if you have a premium subscription to my newsletter. In fact, premium subscription subscribers not only win double the raffle money, but they also get access to stocks to watch, market heat maps, fear and greed index tracking, rate tracking, upcoming market news, daily market winners, midweek congressional trading, meme stocks, and crypto coins. And that's not all. There's also more information in this very newsletter, in this very podcast that goes out to only paid subscribers. So if you're not paid, go and sign up. I promise it's worth it. And by the way, there's even more stuff that comes out in this newsletter. I give, I think, 5 different sections that are only offered to premium subscribers. They get to look at buy, watch, or sell opportunities that I see in the market. And then, of course, I'll report on those the next week about how well we're doing. And let's talk about that performance, because over the past 2 weeks that we've tracked how these stocks performed, we've outperformed the S&P 500 by 3.81% in just 2 weeks. But that's not all. While we averaged a negative 0.69% return this week, we beat the S&P, which averaged a negative 1.75% return. And we're still outperforming the market by vast margins, even not on a weekly basis. But I mean, over the 2 weeks that we've tracked, we're outperforming. Annualized, we're outperforming by an average of nearly 100%, which is just ridiculous. And weekly, we're beating the S&P 500 by about 1.91%. Of course, this is kind of skewed data since we only have 2 days to go off of in both, or 2 weeks to go off of. And both those weeks were weeks where the S&P performed relatively poor. That being said, we did perform well, and the tickers that we had talked about last week as being buy opportunities were Meta. We talked about gold in general, not a specific ticker, but the ticker that I use to track gold is GLD. We also talked about Sure, ticker SURE, and then the NANC KRUZ tickers, which are, of course, politician tracking ETFs. And then KKR, which I talked about a couple of weeks ago, and we tracked the returns from KKR just this week, although we did report on it, 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks ago now. But just to keep things fair, we tracked it just this week. And so our top winners were Meta and gold, up 6.24%, and gold up 2.99% respectively. And then our biggest loser was KKR, which is down 7.8%. Either way, we still beat the S&P this week. And of course, historically, we are also beating the S&P, which is just awesome. All right, let's get into politician trading. Of course, this is what everybody's interested in this week. We've got Nancy Pelosi moving $2 million between 2 stocks. But let's talk about the ETFs real quick here. We've got NANC, the Democrat tracking ETF, which is down 3.3% this week, down 6.09% over the past month, but is still up year to date 13.38%. And KRUZ, the Republican tracking ETF, is in similar territory, down 3.55% this week, down 2.2% over the past month, and is currently up 6.95% year to date. So what's fueled those poor returns? Well, over the past 90 days, we've had 9 politicians make 21 trades, moving a total of $6.87 million. And yes, let's talk about Nancy Pelosi trading. Of course, everybody knows that when Nancy Pelosi makes a trade, we all make money. And so what she did this week was she sold Microsoft, and then it seemingly rolled that position into NVIDIA. And honestly, I'm surprised that this was the move that she decided to make. And although Microsoft is down 11.44% this month, NVIDIA has had similarly poor performance, coming down 12.7% this month. But as the saying goes, roses are red, violets are blue. When Pelosi trades, I do too. And so I might be putting some money into NVIDIA just to watch that go. But in all reality, I think NVIDIA's had its run, and I don't know if I'll be putting any money into it. I'll be chalking up that tree as the week goes on and I see how the market's performing. The other three major trades that happened were from Katie Britt, a Republican in Alabama who sold OneWater Marine. This trade was between $1,000 and $15,000 and happened on July 24th at a price of $26.83. Then we've got Taylor Green, a Republican out of Georgia, who traded Applied Materials, bought that stock between $1,000 and $15,000 worth on July 23rd. And she also bought Corning. We talked about this last week, but it's actually one of the more recent trades. Bought Corning for about $44.06. Her trade size was between $1,000 and $15,000, and this also happened on July 23rd. All right, let's talk about insider trading. As you heard me mention earlier, we're tracking a new ETF and a new position that I've added to my portfolio. The ticker is SURE, SURE. And this tracks insider trading. And so SURE this week is up 1.27%, 3.26% on the month, and 10.83% year to date. And we've got some interesting insider buyers this week as well. We've got Abdel Capital Advisors, who now for the third or fourth week in a row, I think, has been one of the most interesting buyers in our insider trading report. And that's because they have been throwing millions of dollars into Appian. The ticker is APPN, and this week they put another $16.73 million into the stock, which is insane. The stock is down 20% over the past week and is basically at its 52-week low. But this was not the biggest trade we saw this week. The biggest trade was a total value of $87 million being moved into Next Decade Corporation, ticker NEXT, and they are trading at the high of their 52-week range, which is an interesting buy there. Typically, we see these insider buys happen at low points in a stock's run. Next, we also have $74 million being moved into ticker PTSI. And I don't even know what PTSI is, anything about the stock. I really don't even know the name. So we've got two trades totaling, closing in on the $200 million range happening. PTSI is PAM Transport. And so I guess they're kind of an automotive freight company. Nonetheless, just crazy trades happening there. Then we've got the Appian trade from Abdel at the number 3 spot. Then we've got Talos Energy, which I'm sure you will recognize as well. It's been on here multiple times before. Same person buying it, Control Empresarial de Capitales. I'm not really sure where they're from, but they are buying Talos Energy multiple times over the past couple of weeks. Ticker TALO, trading on the low side of its 52-week range. And last but not least, we've got a $1.4 million purchase of ticker MXL, Max Linear, which is literally at the bottom of its 52-week range. Crazy trades happening there. And if you're still wondering if my premium subscription is worth it, ask the hundreds of people that say that it is. You can join them here. Go to my newsletter, thosimpleside.substack.com, and join paid now. All right, next let's get into our executive trading report. This report, of course, tracks the 5 most recent stock trades from company executives. And total ownership this week grew by 130%. This is pretty abnormal. Typically, we see anything from 20 to 50%. So 130 is pretty big. And the largest is in NB Bancorp, ticker NWBI, where the CFO increased his ownership percent in the company by 88%. And I want to make a note about NB since the stock was recently listed on December 23rd or December of 2023. The stock has returned 72% to investors since then. And over the past week, the stock took a major dip, well, major, maybe minor dip of 7%. And the insider buy happened on the day that the stock dropped. So they bought after the drop. This means that the stock could be a great buying opportunity. I'll be watching it closely over the next week and possibly making a position. But for now, I'm just going to be watching. So let's talk about the other 4 stocks we've got up here in the insider trading. We've got Farmers and Merchants Bank shares. The CFO increased his ownership percentage by about 10%. The ticker, FMFG. Then we've got Main Street Bank shares. So lots of banks, lots of financial trading happening. In fact, every single one of these companies is financial. So Main Street, ticker MNSB. The CEO and president increased his ownership percentage by 1%. Then we've got Pineapple Financial, ticker PAPL, and the CSO increased her ownership percentage by 1%. And then we have Riverview Bancorp, ticker RVSB. And then we've got Robert, who increased his ownership percentage. He's the CCO. He increased his ownership percentage by 20%. So lots happening there. I mean, NB Bancorp ownership percentage up 88%, Riverview Bancorp up 20%, and Farmers and Merchants up 10%. I mean, that's incredible by itself. Now we can get into our weekly highs and lows. Our top 3 gainers and our top 3 losers from this week. The number 1 spot for the top gainers is Cassava. Cassava Sciences. Their 1-week change is 95.11%. They are now sitting at $29.11. We've then got Inspirato Incorporated, whose 1-week change is 81%. Stock price is now $6.30. And last but not least, a stock that I actually own and owned back when it was trading in the low dollar range, Lumen Technologies, who is up 73% to a stock price of $3.07. All right, and for the bottom 3 losers, we've got QXO down 84% to $11.99. We've got AEON Biopharma down 60% to $1.05. And we've got Graphjet Technology down 54% to $2.31. All right, and for all of you premium subscribers, we've got something good for you here. We've got the most intriguing market-moving activities reported on down below. We've got mergers and acquisitions. We've got alternative investments. We've got significant news. We've got top investment ideas and earnings price volatility for you to trade options on. We've got all that coming up in the paid report. And did I mention the TLDR summary with buy, watch, and sell opportunities? Typically, websites or newsletters charge hundreds of dollars monthly for this information, but I pay, subscribe to them all, and sift through all of that BS to simplify it for you paying folk. And for those of you that don't know, I actually do a too long didn't read summary summarizing all of the watch closely, buy opportunities, and sell opportunities that I see in the market. And then I also summarize just generally what I've seen going on in the market. Lots of good stuff in there this time. We've got some trades that we saw Warren Buffett make a few weeks ago in the insider trading. He was one of the largest insider traders on a company called Occidental Petroleum. And they're in our mergers and acquisitions report this week. And so they're going to be something that I look at as a buy opportunity. Nonetheless, there's a bunch of good information down there. You should definitely look at joining our paid. I'm not going to promote anything else. No ads on my Substack for now. So I hope you'll go and check this article out, thesimpleside.substack.com, and we look forward to having you next week.